All right. Should be on here, guys. I meant to start it at 10, but then I had some difficulties. I just had to make sure that the mic worked and everything was in place here. But what's up, everybody? Welcome in. I'll wait a few minutes to get some more people in here. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this whenever there is active weather like we have this week and this weekend. Um, but comment, let's go. I want to see everyone comment. Let's go. Let's go in the live chat. Really appreciate it. Like the stream. And oh boy, we just had a pretty wild GFS run come in here. So if y'all don't know, it's like there's like a different kind of some different models we use. Some of them are short range. They only come out within 48 to 60 hours. Some of them are more longer to mid range. They go all the way out to 2 weeks. Obviously, nothing 2 weeks out is very predictable. Y'all know how the weather is. What's up, everybody? Charles, what's up? Marianne, how's it going? Beth, Tina, and Allison. What's up, everybody? A foot of snow in Tennessee. Well, it depends on what part of Tennessee, but I think it's pretty likely that somebody in Tennessee gets a foot of snow, right? So, what's up? Is it hype or are you going to get a really good snow? Like I said, depends on what part of Tennessee. Let me know what part of Tennessee you're in. If you're in northern Tennessee or if you're in eastern Tennessee, there's a lot better shot than southern Tennessee, in my opinion. And if I had to guess, I think Memphis and Nashville are going to kind of be on the line between being all snow, half sleet, a third sleet, a third freezing rain, a third snow, or possibly more sleet, freezing rain. You're kind of right on that edge there. Uh, let's see. Where am I at? I'm in Joplin, Missouri, so I'm like right here. This run has Joplin, Missouri picking up a good snowstorm now. It's moved north. Middle Tennessee, Pleasant View. I don't know where Pleasant View is, but Middle Tennessee, you're right on the edge. So we'll talk about that here right now. Let's go ahead and talk about it. And as y'all know, the previous streams, I was stressing how are these troughs going to phase? And as we noted, the GFS was not phasing the trough well, but the Euro was. And I kind of told y'all I'm not really buying the GFS. It's weaker, it has a weaker system, and it doesn't phase as well. I'm not buying it. And guess what? The GFS completely caved to the Euro. Completely caved to the Euro. Euro is short for European. So you can see the GFS. Look at this. The GFS has a beautiful trough phase right here. You can see. I'll go back. You can see. Look at this. This is Friday at dinner time. So at this point, Friday at about dinner time, your snow and your ice are getting going across Oklahoma, Arkansas, southern Missouri. Your main trough is still out here, west of the Baja, and it's going to slide northeast, and it is going to phase with this trough up here. So this trough up here is swooping down, and there's a high pressure up here, and that's bringing cold Arctic air down, and this trough over here is going to phase. That might have been loud. Sorry. I hit the mic. This is going to phase with that trough. So what the earlier runs showed is it showed that trough near the Baja was just sitting off of the coast. Now they're going to merge together. So you can see here, if I go throughout the run here, you can see, look at that trough, just a beautiful phase. And by the time you get to Sunday morning, you have a monster storm over here. And then you probably have another wave of energy on the backside, and it's all sliding up. And eventually, Philly, I-95, DC, Philly, New York, you're going to get into the action too. So Here's what we're looking like in terms of precipitation. So we'll look at the GFS. So we kind of have like 4, maybe 5 models we look at. The first 2 are the GFS and the European. That stands for the Global Forecast System, and the European is just the European model. We also have the Canadian model, we have the ICON model, and we have the UK Met. So what's up, everybody? How's it going? Justin, what's up? Charles, was I in Joplin with a tornado hit? I was. Yeah, Tennessee, you're gonna get some kind of snow. Okay, so we're gonna break this down right here. If you're just tuning in, make sure to like the stream. I'll probably be live until the Euro comes in, and the Euro is gonna come in around 11:45. So I'll be live at least an hour and a half, hour 15, hour and a half. Maybe if the stream's going well, maybe I'll stay live longer. But here you can see by dinner time Friday, already major problems starting here. You got snow all the way from Roswell, New Mexico, all the way over to Memphis. Already got major problems by Friday evening, and the temps are going to be cold. You're talking about temperatures in the mid 20s, so this stuff is going to stick. So let's go out to throughout the night. Your main energy. So Friday evening, your main wave of energy is out here, guys. Your main wave of energy is right here. So this is all happening without your main piece of energy. So you're going to pick up some snow amounts here, but it's going to be kind of light, hit and miss. Probably some really heavy sleet, freezing rain, because you're getting an influx of Gulf moisture. But it's not going to be super strong yet, because by Saturday morning, your wave of energy is still offshore. By Saturday afternoon, you kind of have this like kind of light, moderate, hit and miss snow, hit and miss freezing rain. But down here, Saturday afternoon, the purple is sleet and the pink is freezing rain. And one thing that we're also going to talk about too is the GFS has a lot more sleet. The Euro has a lot more freezing rain. I don't have much experience when it comes to those models. When it comes to those two things. Oh, let me get my chair up a little bit. But that's what we're looking like here. Major event now ongoing across the south by this point. And you're starting to have some heavier snow work into Oklahoma. And then look at this. Saturday night, that main piece of energy swings through, and you're just going to have nasty, heavy snow from just to the north of Nashville, Louisville, all the way down I-44, I-40. And you're also going to have your other piece of snow coming up now. Look at this. The valley right here, North Carolina, Virginia. This might be a jackpot somewhere in here. Might be the jackpot for snow totals. But by the time everyone's going to church, probably, well, I'm assuming church is going to be canceled for most people, but with this kind of storm. But look at that. By Sunday morning, snow is tapering off back here, but your event is really now getting started over here and down here. So freezing rain, sleet, snow up here. You see your high pressure up here working in lots of cold air. On the back side of this, you even get some sleet and freezing rain all the way down to the I-10 corridor down there in Texas, Louisiana. We're going to have to watch this because, guys, all it takes is a glaze of ice. That's all it takes is a tiny little glaze of ice. It's so small I can't even make it out. All it takes is a glaze of ice for major accidents. Now, that's on the roadways. When you start getting that half an inch of ice on your power lines, on your trees, and then your trees get all icy, and then there's wind, and when your branches get heavy, any gust of wind is going to take down branches, take down trees. There's going to be a big deal. So, what is up, Linda? How's it going? Jem, how's it going? Hey, and if you guys have any questions about like some places where you're located, or maybe you have family over there and you want to ask me, just give me a location in the chat and I'll get to it as quick as I can. So just, yeah, let me know in the chat, guys. What do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to break down? If you want me to focus on the East Coast, I can more. If you want me to focus on the Central Plains, Southern Plains, I can. The South, the ice, the snow, just let me know. Maybe you want to see it all. So look at this. By evening time on Sunday, I mean, look at this crusher of a snowstorm, crusher of a snowstorm up here by Sunday evening. So let's talk about snow totals. We will go snow and ice totals. We'll go kind of region by region. And I want you guys to keep in mind, this is one model run. One model run, okay? This is one model. This is a GFS model, okay? One model run. Don't get carried away by this model run, because the next model that I show you is going to be different. This model, it has been really, really bad. I think it's finally getting a handle on the storm, but overall it's been really bad. So this might look totally different tomorrow morning. One thing that won't change is there's going to be a big winter storm for probably 100 million people. That's what won't change. What will change is little details like, okay, is it going to move 50 miles north, south, whatever? And in this case, 50 miles to the north or south, that could be a big, big difference. 50 miles could be the difference of 10 inches of snow and mostly ice, really, with this kind of storm. So just hit my desk. Oh my goodness. Okay, but all right. Here's the GFS snow totals. Grain of salt, okay? Grain of salt. That's what you got to take this with. And I'll get to some of you guys. Okay, Middle Tennessee, and we got Natchez, Mississippi. I'll get to you guys in just a second, okay? So this is putting a big swath of snow across Oklahoma. I mean, this is a fat, wide swath of snow. To be honest with you, right now, I wonder if this little spot on the Red River, I need to make my mark a little bit bigger here. I wonder if this spot on the Red River, I wonder if this is going to be mostly sleet up here. I wonder if the sleet is going to be more here and the snow is going to be more up here. But you can still pick up a lot of sleet too. So look at Dallas. Dallas, DFW, about 3 inches of snow / sleet. I don't think this is really counting in sleet much. Someone might correct me on that, but so it has 18 inches from like Oklahoma City to Little Rock. I can tell you right now, there's a very low chance of that happening. Is it possible? Sure. With a storm like this, it's certainly possible, but that is a lot. Joplin, you're about 7 inches. Springfield, about 7 inches. Fayetteville, about 15 inches. Northwest Arkansas, I am very confident that Northwest Arkansas is going to get smoked with probably a foot. I'm getting pretty confident on that one, but let's give it a couple days. But I think that is going to be a very favorable spot for Tulsa, Northwest Arkansas, parts of the Missouri boot heel into Tennessee, Kentucky border. I think you're in a favorable position to where you're far enough south to where you're not going to get the dry air on the north side, but you're far enough north to where you're not going to get the sleet. You're kind of in that Goldilocks zone, the perfect spot. So this is for the Southern Plains, what it looks like. Get a good hard look. And don't take those totals to heart. Just because this model shows your house getting 18 inches of snow, please don't think your house is getting 18 inches of snow. It might, it's possible, but we got a long way to go, okay? We still got about 60, 70 hours till the beginning of the storm and over 100 hours until the end of the storm. So here's the Ohio Valley. Knoxville, you're getting smoked. Nashville, I think this is Nashville. Nashville is far enough north to where you're probably going to get more snow than anything else. But if you're in Nashville area, there might be a difference on the north or south side. And look, if this storm just shifts 50 miles to the north, Nashville, you're going to get mostly sleet and some snow and ice. If it shifts to the south, you're probably still going to be in that big chunk of snow. Someone said Middle Tennessee. As far as Middle Tennessee goes, my expectation would be probably somewhere near the sleet snow line. You're probably going to have really heavy snow, and if a lot of sleet mixes in, it's going to lower the amounts. If you can avoid sleet mixing in, then those amounts are going to be higher. It's very tricky because small differences up in the atmosphere can make the difference between snow and sleet. And sometimes it's very hard for these global models to be able to differentiate between the snow and the sleet. So it's very hard to tell. Um, we'll look at ice in a second too. Mid Atlantic. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I think somewhere in Virginia might get the jackpot here. This is like is this like Charlottesville? That's showing like 2 feet. DC 16 inches. A foot and a half for Philly. Ridiculous. I mean, even over by Pittsburgh has Pittsburgh getting like 10 inches of snow. So pretty high amounts, guys. All right, I'm going to read some of these comments and I'm going to look at some more specific spots. You hope it stays south of St. Louis. Right now, it looks like the bulk of this will be south of St. Louis. But if you're in St. Louis, I would expect snow. Now, this model run has you getting about 3 to 4 inches. I think the Euro showed a lot more. The Euro has you getting about 7 inches of snow. But those 7 inches of snow on the Euro, that's falling over the span of like 40 hours. So it's like very light snow, but it happens for so many hours that you can pick up 6 inches, however many inches of snow over a long span of time. Okay, let me look here. Natchez, Mississippi. Where is Natchez, Mississippi? I've definitely heard of that. I've definitely heard of Natchez, but I don't remember. Is that near the Delta? Oh no, that's way south. Natchez. Okay, that's down there, southwest of Jackson. All right. You guys are gonna get ice. Pretty confident in that. Look at that. But you're kind of on the line. Look, that first wave comes in. Natchez is like down here. So it looks like your cold rain to start Friday night, Saturday, cold rain. And then on the back end of the system, you might switch to ice. You might switch to ice on the back end of the system. But here's the thing. If this system trends like 50 miles to the south, or if that cold air sinks further south, one thing with shallow cold air always sinks further south than you'd expect it. Every time it does. It always, that shallow cold air always sinks further than you'd expect it. So, like, according to this model, Natchez, Mississippi is getting like nothing. Yeah, I mean, it's all up here. And you're not getting much down there. But, literally, if this shifted 50 miles to the south, like it's just such a hard call. I can't really say one way or the other. My gut tells me that the overall energy of the storm is going to shift a little north. But if that cold air seeps a little farther south, you could get into the action. Let's see what the GFS does for Natchez. That was the Euro. Let's see what the GFS does. And by the way, guys, I'm using pivotal weather. So the GFS has you guys getting a lot of freezing rain down there. So GFS has a lot of freezing rain down there. I'm probably saying that wrong, guys, but yeah. Well, this hit Scott Air Force Base. Yeah, you should get some snow at Scott Air Force Base. What's up, everybody? Yeah, warm ground. I mean, the ground's going to be warm, guys, but a lot of these areas that are getting freezing rain are going to be in the mid 20s. When you're in the mid 20s, Warm ground after a little bit ain't gonna do much anymore. So, um, but that's the GFS there. Who else wanted to know? How's it looking for Western North Carolina? If you're talking about in the mountains, you should be snow in the mountains. This is just the GFS run, but you should be snow in the mountains. A little bit to the south, like maybe Georgia, maybe more or Carolina, South Carolina, maybe more ice than snow. Uh, but yeah, accumulation wise, it's hard to say. Like it just is hard to say. I'm fairly confident that there's going to be a large swath of 12 to 18 inches. The question is how wide is that swath north to south? It's going to be very expansive. I think that swath is going to go from potentially the Texas Panhandle to New York City, all the way to the East Coast. But the question is how wide is the swath? It's going to be long, but how wide is it? And then where is it at? Where does it set up? That's the big question here. 69 viewers. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, the end of the GFS run is. I haven't even looked at the rest of it. Does it have like another storm or something? I guess we can look. Anything outside of a week, I just don't even look at. Well, there's our big storm this weekend. What's the end of it? Oh, the end of the GFS run has a nor'easter. 980. What? That's a bomb cyclone over like. Why does it have a bomb cyclone over Outer Banks? What is going on there? This is like a bomb cyclone. Look, your surface low goes from like a 1006 to like a 973, and it has like a blizzard. So that's never gonna happen. That's like a blizzard over there. All right, well, just for fun, guys, we'll look at how much the fantasy storm on the GFS has. Dude, 47 inches of snow. And oh my gosh. Dude, that is so funny. So this is not going to happen. You're not going to get 47 inches of snow, but that is hilarious that that even shows that. I wonder what the upper level trough looks like. Oh my gosh. That is insane, man. What the heck? Somebody's going to be making a lot of money posting this on Facebook. Someone's going to post that on Facebook, and some joke account's going to make a bunch of money from that. Watching from Live Oak, Florida. Let's go. Yeah, AccuWeather's going to say, look at this. This is a dangerous snow cane. This is going to be the biggest snow cane ever. That's what AccuWeather's going to say. Derek, how's it going? What's up? Jordan, how's it going? Adam, Frankie, Taryn, Nick. What is up, guys? Oh, we're back to 69 viewers. There we go. But that is that is so wild, dude. That is so that has to. The GFS has had a lot of wild things, but that might be the craziest thing I've ever seen on these models. That is insane. Okay, let's look at some other models. We're waiting for the European model. We have about 40. I got to entertain you guys for another 45 minutes before the Euro gets here. No, I'll be fine. I got enough caffeine in the system. But let's look at the Canadian model. Can I do the Canadian accent? I don't think I can. I did go to Canada to chase tornadoes, and everybody up there seemed nice. Now I was up here in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Actually, I did go to Alberta. So I went to these 3 provinces up here, and everybody up there was pretty chill. I have no idea what Vancouver or Toronto are like, but surely I'll go there someday, probably to chase a storm. But all right, let's look at the Canadian. So the Canadian Friday at dinner time. So this is pretty locked in here. This is pretty locked in. Friday evening, you're going to have some light snow and probably some pretty honestly, down here, you're probably gonna see pretty heavy icing Friday evening. You're gonna have some light snow up in the southern plains. Rockies are gonna get decent snow. They need it so bad. Oh my gosh. And then from midnight to or from about dinner time to midnight, it really blossoms. And then by morning, you have a pretty extreme sleet, snow, ice event down here. About to get the hiccups. My goodness. You have a pretty you can't stand AccuWeather. Yeah, me neither. But you have a pretty solid event down there, and you have light snow. Now, this snow up here, guys, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of snow ratios, but a snow ratio is basically how efficiently does the snow accumulate. So if the air is really cold, your snow accumulates really efficiently, and it's like that powdery dry snow. If your temperature is a little bit warmer, your snow is going to be heavier and wet, and it's not going to accumulate as efficiently. But that's how you get those big flakes and the really really heavy snow. But up here, you're going to have some light snow. But the thing is, your temperatures up here are going to be in like the single digits, probably. Actually, we can look. We'll pull a sounding right over my house. Yeah. So the temperature at my house is at this point is 3 degrees. So even though there's light snow there, actually the dew point is like -8. So the snow probably wouldn't be hitting the ground. But anyway, eventually the atmosphere will saturate. But that snow is going to be really, really fluffy. So then by Saturday evening here, you can see your first wave of energy over here. Here's your second wave of energy that these models have had trouble with. The models have had trouble with picking up that second wave of energy out here, and they're doing a lot better now. So as you see, the GFS, the Euro, the Canadian, they're showing that second wave of energy. So this second wave comes through, and by Sunday morning, your snow starts to taper off in the southern plains. Your icing moves south. So that guy who lives in Natchez, there you go. You're going to be being big icing on Sunday morning once that cold air moves south potentially. And then you have a very solid snow event, St. Louis to Indianapolis. So this model is farther north. This is farther north than the GFS. The GFS did not have this up here in Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. And then look at this. I mean, you're getting slammed, and you can see your warm nose. I'll stop drawing circles. I'll stop drawing circles. Here's your warm, kind of your warm nose of air. You have this warm air that's pushing up. So this is a failure mode for Virginia and North Carolina. This would be your fail mode. If this warm air can push up to the east of the Appalachians. So if some of this cold air, the Appalachians are over here. That was terrible. Your Appalachians are like right here, and this cold air can get blocked by the Appalachians, and you can get warm air to move up on the east side, and that could cause your snow totals to go down over there because that cold air, the coldest air is trapped on the backside. Now, what that can do is you can also get cold air to get trapped down here into the Carolinas, and that can give you a bigger ice storm. So we'll have to watch that. That's a very like regional kind of thing. And I'm from Missouri, so I don't really forecast the Carolinas, but that is something that can happen with that topography. So, all right, let's move in. Lunchtime. By dinner time, Sunday. This is dinner time on Sunday. I-95, New York, Boston. So now this has Boston picking up a big. This is just one model, but it has Boston getting in on it. I don't even know if I want to look at the snowfall amounts because they're going to be ridiculous. All right. Here's your snowfall by Saturday morning. So, yeah, you have a foot of snow up by Wichita. You have another little swath down by Fort Smith of a foot of snow. And then generally you have about 8 to 10 everywhere else. So everyone picks up a solid snowstorm, and then you pick up another heavy batch. This storm actually blossoms it in the Northeast, and look at everyone to the south. Nashville cooked. Little Rock, cooked. Dallas, cooked. Greensboro, Raleigh, cooked. Charlotte, no snow. Richmond, cooked. DC still gets in on the action. So this moves everything way north. So we gotta see these trends because we could have a big north trend, which for me in Southwest Missouri, I'm not complaining about the north trend. That's gonna give me more snow. But some of y'all will lose out on some of the snow. Yeah, so we'll have to watch. But here's the crazy thing. Let me show y'all something here. So here's the Canadian. Get a good hard look at it here. So let's go to the GFS. See how much farther north the Canadian is? The Canadian has a bunch of snow up here and up here. Actually, but the crazy thing is the GFS has moved north. We could go back to the GFS this morning. Look at the GFS. The GFS is so bad. The GFS this morning had no snow here. It had no snow up here. And now look at the GFS. It's completely gotten on board with the right solution. I can't talk about how bad the GFS has been with this whole event. I mean, it has been so bad. The GFS has been terrible. It's been terrible. All right, guys. We got 70. We almost got 80 people in here, but we only have 26 likes. That might not be updated for me. Maybe we have more likes than that or more or less people. But if you're in here, smash that like button for me. And also one other thing, I want you guys to comment in the chat where you're tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from tonight? Let me know where you're watching from. And I'll probably read them off. Yeah, big L to the GFS, which is sad because you know what? I thought that the GFS did a very make sure my phone doesn't overheat. Okay. I thought that the GFS did a very admirable job in severe season. I actually thought it did better than the Euro, better than the Canadian in severe season, but man, it's really sucked. It's really sucked here with this winter storm. So, moral of the story, when we're forecasting winter, we're going to take the GFS a little bit less to heart. And we're going to look at the Euro. When it comes to severe season, the GFS is my favorite model in severe season. It really is. So, all right, we got North Dakota in the house. North Louisiana, you're going to get a icing event in North Louisiana. Ohio in the chat. I don't know what part of Ohio, but y'all are going to get in on some of the snow with these northward trends here. Charlotte, prepare for ice in Charlotte. You could get some snow still, but prep for more ice. El Paso, Texas, you're going to maybe get in on a little bit of the winter weather down there in El Paso. We got Denver in here. I'll be in Denver in a couple of weekends at the Chaser Convention or the Chaser Summit. As long as no big winter storm pops up, I'll be at the Chaser Summit. I don't know if any of y'all will be there, but if you are, you can meet me. Austin, Texas, you're going to get in on the ice. Texarkana, you're going to be in that winter battle zone between snow, ice, sleet. But Texarkana, I'm kind of leaning more sleet ice than snow, but we'll see. Kind of leaning sleet ice, but you'll get a little bit of snow probably. Little Rock, you're also in the battle zone. I'm leaning more sleet, but I think you'll pick up ice and snow as well. Birmingham, big ice storm coming for you. Alaska, wow. I saw Juneau was getting smoked this winter. I don't know how the rest of Alaska's doing. Probably really cold. What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? We got Denver in the chat. Westminster, Colorado. I think I'll be in like I said, I'm going to Denver, but I think it's in Westminster is where we'll be. Lawton, Oklahoma. Get ready to get smoked in Lawton, Oklahoma. I've been to Lawton, Oklahoma. Not my favorite place, but I do love the Wichita Mountains. Those are awesome. But we're in Lawton all the time to chase storms, that's for sure. Northeast Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky. drawing thing is some sort of overlay with streaming, or if it comes with the website. I'm using Pivotal Weather. I have a subscription to Pivotal Weather, but it's also free. So free plug here for Pivotal Weather. For That's what I'm looking at all these models on. I use COD Weather sometimes, but this right here, if you're talking about this, my drawing tool, this is something that I just downloaded. I think it's called Epic Pen. It's free. It's easy to use. I like it. So I just downloaded this. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to use. You can change the colors, change how thick or how thin your coloring thing is. But all right, back to the forecasting here. We'll look at the icon. So we have the Canadian. We just leaked the snow totals there before we looked at it. We have the Canadian. We have the icon. Oh, the icon's the other one. Yeah. Canadian, UK Met, which I don't really use the UK Met, and then the icon. But they've all been better than the GFS. That's all I know. So, all right, here's the icon. There you go. Friday evening. No, this is actually Saturday morning. Saturday morning, light to moderate snow to the north. So this does have Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville in the snow. Lubbock getting smoked. And then you can see your big icing event down here. And then throughout the day, Saturday has that heavier wave moving up. And then, man, it really smokes Washington, D.C. And this one as well. Something I'm noticing is Boston, New York City. Y'all are getting in on this a little bit more than you were earlier. Boston, New York City. Wow, can't believe. Oh, you're a big fan of Storm Runner. Nice. Yeah, so if y'all don't know, I'm with Storm Runner Media now. So when it comes to live storm chasing, I'm gonna be doing that with Storm Runner Media. But I still want to find something to do on this channel. So I'm going to be doing these live briefings all the time. When we have active weather like this, it'll be once or twice a day. But I'm going to be doing these live briefings. So make sure to sub. What's your opinion on Nashville? You have family there. Nashville's kind of in that, kind of the middle zone here. Okay. So you might get a little bit of everything in Nashville. You might get snow, you might get sleet, you might get a little ice. I lean towards more sleet and snow than ice, but we'll have to watch it. But sleet and snow, it makes a big difference, because if you got like 4 inches of sleet, 4 inches of sleet is probably equivalent to like over a foot of snow. So you could literally be right in position to get a ton of snow and you just get sleet instead. And then you get like 4 inches of sleet, maybe a couple inches of snow when it changes over, but it can be tough, guys. All right, we're going to look at the UK Met. I have no idea if this model is even good for this. Well, it looks good for my house. Look at that. It's Friday night, just smoking 44 up here. But see, look at this freezing line. This freezing line's right here. It's a little bit further north. So the UK Met is really far north. So we're going to have to watch this. My goodness. You look, the UK Met has a storm going into like Chicago now and Indy and Columbus. And what this model's so far north. Wow. It has like, I don't buy this, by the way. This model is really far north. I don't believe it. But it is one of the things that we got to look at everything here. We got to look at everything. Oh my gosh, look at how far north this is. This doesn't even give Oklahoma. This has Oklahoma City and like Fayetteville on the freezing line. Lubbock puts down 18 inches on my house. I'll take 18 inches any day of the week. Look at that. 18 inches of snow right over my house. So I like this model. And then it dumps like 18 inches of snow for New York and Boston. This one's pretty far north here. But we can also look at the Rufus, I think. Let's see what the Rufus is doing. So we're starting to get some of our convective allowing models out to Friday night. By this time tomorrow night, we'll have a lot more of these models in range, but see the Rufus about midday Friday, starting to have some issues across Oklahoma, but very, very light stuff. And then by dinner time, it all blossoms. You're getting heavy ice north of Dallas, near Abilene, Pine Bluff, heavy ice, little corridor of sleet in the middle, and then snow up here. Let's see how good my writing skills aren't too bad, are they? With my mouse. But not great. Um and then you can see it kind of trails off a little bit Saturday morning, but you can see the second wave is already getting ready to blast northwest. So that's the one thing that I've seen with all these models is the second wave is being better modeled here. We can see it here. We can go to our Vorticity. At this point, I'm waiting for the European model to come in. That is going to come in about half an hour. So we're waiting for that European model to come in. So you can see here, if I go to the Vorticity, so this shows you kind of like your energy. So here, this is a good way to look at this stuff, and we'll look at this a lot. I look at this a lot for snow. I look at it even more for severe weather though. But you can see your lobe of vorticities right here. Your lobe of vorticities right here, and it's going to swing around here and meet up with some of this vorticity. This is Thursday night. So this is in a couple of days, but see how your lobe of vorticity out here is ejecting and kind of phasing with this other lobe of vorticity. And then it has a lot of there's a lot of energy out in front of this your main wave is back here, but there's a lot of energy out in front. And then here's your cold air really coming down here. You're already going to have some cold air in place, but you can see this lobe of energy. By Sunday morning, there it gets in there, gets into the plains, and then goes through. But that's a good way to look at that, is your vorticity. All right, chat. You guys make a great team. Love watching the lives. Thank you so much. Yeah, as far as like official snow totals go, I'm going to try to like release some of my own graphics on Facebook or Twitter. I want to make sure I do a good job though, because I don't want to get a bad reputation. So if I do put some graphics out, I'll make sure to put a lot of time into the forecast for that. But I'm gonna wait tomorrow night. I may start trying to play with getting some official totals out there, but I've seen this stuff change so drastically in a few hours. So it's just very difficult to put totals out there. And then when you put totals out there, you have to be conservative. You have to start low. And then as you get closer, you go up. That's how it goes. And the problem is you start low on you're conservative on the totals. And then people are in your chat like, oh, you're so low, man. We're going to get way more snow than this. And I'm like, yeah, you probably will, but we got to keep it low at the beginning so we don't mess it up if it trends down. Do you think models will continue to trend north or trend back south, potentially with the high pressure strengthening. So that's another factor too that I haven't gotten into much is this high pressure. So y'all can see here's our surface chart, and this looks very confusing, but Friday afternoon, you can see pretty obvious. Here's your cold front right here. So you got your winds out of the south here, northeast here, cold front, you got lots of moisture streaming up from the Gulf. So that cold, shallow air combines with that moisture. Big ice storm. I mean, this is just a classic look for a big ice storm with snow further up here. Here's your high pressure, 1052. It's pretty strong high pressure. So this high pressure could suppress some of the precipitation, but I think that we have a strong enough upper level support in place that this high may not. So the thing is, if this high pressure is a little bit further up here, it's going to shift north. Maybe it gets down here. Everything's going to be suppressed a little bit to the south. But there's your high pressure cold front. And this is at Friday at about lunchtime, at about noon. So you can see here by the evening, you can see, look at how much your cold front's moved. It's already all the way down towards I-10 in Texas and then I-20 over here. Your high pressure just kind of, it's not, your high pressure doesn't push to the south much. It just kind of sits up in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Your main spot of high pressure. It comes out of Saskatchewan, kind of sits there. You can see by Saturday afternoon, your cold front is, this is a Euro model. Your cold front is at the Gulf by, there's my little cold front drawing your cold fronts at the Gulf. And then it kind of gets stuck up here. Again, and it's east of the Appalachians, it kind of sags down a little bit. But that's about where your cold front is. Your high pressure's sitting up here. It moves from that direction to over here. So your high pressure's not pushing too far south, which I think will allow. It's not pushing too far south, so I think that's going to allow for some of your snow shield to get up here. I think your snow shield can get up that far north to like the 70 corridor, maybe a little farther north. Like once you get into Indiana, Ohio, it's probably going to be even farther north. The Arkansas power grid. I got no idea about the Arkansas power grid. I know, guys, y'all remember, let me know in the chat. Do you guys remember February 21? Like the Texas, like power failure, not just Texas, but other states like Louisiana, parts of Oklahoma. I'm sure parts of Arkansas, but I mean, that ain't going to happen. Not at least from the cold. That maybe from the, if the ice storm is bad enough, it could happen, but at least it's not going to be that cold. We can look at, that's another big story is our temperatures. We'll look at the temperatures here. Here, we'll go to the 12Z. Oh, the 0Z just, okay, our 0Z Euro is now loading in. So in about 20 or 30 minutes, we should have our European model loaded in. And once we get that loaded in, we'll look at that. That's kind of what I've been waiting for here is to get the Euro loaded in here. But, all right, here's our there's your cold front. Friday, you can see that cold front really, this is insane. Okay. This is your temperature. This is not your wind chill. This is not your heat index. This is your temperature. Look at this. Whoa. I didn't mean to go that far. Look at this. This is Friday. This is Friday morning. -20s up here where that high pressure is. -20s. That's in the daylight. Right after the sun goes up, but still, it's in the daylight. Here's your freezing line all the way down to 40. You have negatives. You have negatives in Missouri already. You have negatives in Missouri by Friday morning. That's crazy to think about. And then Friday evening, Saturday night. Look at this. You have your freezing line is all the way down to about Austin, College Station, Jackson, and then then lower than Columbia, South Carolina. There's your freezing line right there. And obviously you have a ton of moisture that's pumping up. I'm going to use a different color. I might use black here, but here's your freezing line, and you just have a ton of moisture that's running into that cold air. Saturday afternoon, a balmy high temperature of 6 degrees in Joplin, Missouri, 5 degrees in Oklahoma City. It's going to be very cold. Little Rock, 12 degrees. But this could all shift a little north. It could all shift a little south. We'll have to see how it goes. So then once you get a snowpack, your temperature is going to drop like a rock at nighttime. So when you have that snowpack and you have clear skies, your temperatures can really plummet. When you get dry air, your temperatures will plummet quite a bit. So this model has Monday morning, it has negatives across this area right here. Obviously negatives up here to the north. And keep in mind that this is highly dependent on snowpack. So bigger snowpack, it's going to get colder. Not as much snowpack, it's going to be cold, but not as cold. So I don't know if I don't think low 20s, upper teens are really enough to shut the power grid down there, but the ice could be. Little Rock, as long as there's no ice, it's going to be fine. Well, Little Rock, I don't know, maybe you'll get sleet, but wind chill of -49. I want to know something, chat. Let me know. Everybody put in the chat, what is the coldest temperature that you've ever experienced? What is your coldest temperature you've experienced? For me, I think it was -18 degrees. That was in February of 2021. We had about a foot of snow on the ground. We got that snowpack. I think here in Joplin, I think it was the second or third coldest it ever had been. We were 2 degrees shy of our all-time cold record. It was -18 here. I remember Fayetteville the same morning broke. I think Fayetteville, Arkansas broke their all-time record and hit -20. But let me know, what's the coldest temperature you've ever felt? Let me know in the chat. But cold. And then you can see by Tuesday morning that cold air shifts over to the mid-Atlantic, talking about negative temperatures, North Carolina, Virginia. Pretty cold. And then, but it warms up. It warms up very quickly on the back. Look, by Tuesday afternoon, even with a snowpack, a lot of these areas are getting near or above freezing. And then by Wednesday, another little cold front comes in. But this cold air is kind of going to linger around for 4 or 5 days, but it's not going to linger around like it did a couple years ago. So I don't think the grid issues will be as bad. All right. -34. That's crazy. Yeah. Prep for the temps, guys. Wind chill was -30, -57 wind chill. You got to be up north somewhere. I think the coldest wind chill I've felt is -25, maybe 30. Luckily, the morning that I got to -18, the winds were calm, so no wind chill there. -24, ice fishing in Michigan. That sounds fun. -17, Northeast Pennsylvania. -5, -10. -20 in a blizzard. That's ridiculous. Oh, that wind chill was in Aberdeen. That doesn't surprise. I've been at one time I was in Aberdeen, and the cops pulled me over and started searching my car. I was storm chasing, and they didn't find anything in my car, obviously, but it's like, why are they searching my car? Actually, I think it's probably my right to say no if they don't have a reason, but I just didn't want to make a conflict. So I was like, okay, I don't have anything to hide. Search my car. But that happened to me in Aberdeen, actually. I was trying to get I hadn't eaten all day. Long tornado chase. I'm trying to get like Burger King at like 11 so I can like eat a meal for the day. And then I'm getting like pulled over in Aberdeen. Uh -6 Wyoming ice hockey. 33 below. Been 60 below in Alaska, I believe it. Well, um, I can't see how many likes we have, but uh, my thing says 26 likes. I know that the stream has more than 26 likes. If it doesn't have 100, smash that like button. Let's get to 100 likes. We have like 90 people in here. I'm sure most of you guys have liked the stream, but if you haven't, smash that like button. Takes like the click of a button. Really helps me out. I appreciate it, y'all. All right, we're just waiting for this Euro run to come in. It'll be slow, but give it 15 minutes. We'll have our data. Let's go. Let's see. Let's go. Let's see. Let's go to X and see what Let's see what my boy Max Velocity has been posting. Look at this. Look at these temp anomalies. 30 to 40 degrees below normal there. Exploding tree rate. What? What the? Does anyone know? Someone, you're up in Aberdeen. Who was up in Aberdeen up there? Baked, you're in Aberdeen. What's up with the exploding trees up there? Well, that's a risk, I guess. 1 million views. Let's see some of these. I don't even know what these, okay. All right, maybe I shouldn't look at the replies. Okay. Oh, Northern Lights in New York right now. That's pretty sick. I tried to get the Northern Lights and then. So here's Max's graphic. The prepare now. Yeah, that's about right. I think that tomorrow he'll probably like move this over as there's like more confidence, but 96 likes. Oh my gosh. Oh, 100 likes. 100 likes. Let's go, chat. Let's go. I really appreciate it. I've done a couple of these streams at like early to mid afternoon, and I was sitting around like 50 concurrent viewers. Seems like these are going to do better at night. So I'll probably do more of these at nighttime. It makes sense. That's when more people are online. I wonder if we can go see can we see my graphics? How do I go to my account? Is this it? Yeah, look at this tornado. Y'all want to see a cool tornado? Look at this sucker. This says like 1 million views on my account. This is a cool tornado. We're like inside of it, but it's like sidewinding. Okay. Here's one of my graphics I made. You can see here. I'm showing that got that high pressure right here. What is going on here? Got that high pressure. There's your thing. And there's the zone of winter madness. I might have to extend this winter madness zone a little bit further north based off of our recent trends, but I think this is I think this encompasses it. Maybe a little south right there, but systems phasing together. That is what is happening. Yes, the Euro, the GFS, certainly. Yeah, GFS model. It was caving to the Euro model. As you can see here. This is confusing, but yeah. Okay, so our Euro is loading in. Is there any other models that we can look at? Oh, how about we look at the ensemble? So if you don't know what an ensemble is, it's like a conglomeration of a bunch of different like ensemble members of one model. So this is a GFS ensemble. Exploding trees sounds misinformation. I don't know. I don't know if it's misinformation or not because I just need to know more about it. But oh gosh, what do I look at here? How do I look at precip? 6-hour QPF mean. Okay, this is what we want. So this is the GFS ensemble. So I trust this more than the GFS. And a couple days ago, the ensembles were all over the place. You had one ensemble doing this, you had another thing doing this, and you just never know. So YouTube is bombarding me with ads. Let me know. Let me know if the ads are too much. I might be able to turn them down a little bit. Also, hey, I want to make a couple cents, guys, if I go live, but I might turn them down a little bit. I'm like in chat and I'm getting bombarded with like not even ads that are like blocking the stream. There's like ads blocking chat. That just might be a YouTube thing. But here you see pretty solid signal for just a lot of precip. So this is all the models together. So, I mean, this is very solid. We can look at snowfall as well. This is a 10-to-1 snowfall. So this 10-to-1 snowfall is going to underdo it a little bit, but I mean, a signal of a foot by DC. This kind of tells you where it's signaling the most snow. So it's kind of signaling the most snow. This is kind of the line here. This is kind of what it's looking at here. And then a lot, Colorado, New Mexico mountains are going to get a much, much needed snowfall here. Let me refresh my thing and see how many, maybe I can see how many likes I have now. I'm not sure. Oh, 109. There we go. Good job. Good job, chat. 109 likes. We'll take that. I'm just starting to do these, so I'm sure my algorithm will be a little slower at first. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube, but I'm sure it'll be slower at first and it'll pick up a little bit as I do more of these. But all right, our Euro's at 36 hours. We can look at our you can look at the 18Z. See, it's different. See, the Euro ensembles are different than the GFS. So here, we'll do the GFS on this tab. What? Snow depth. We'll just do the 10-to-1. So here's the GFS. Get a good hard look at the GFS right here. Here's the Euro. Whoa, not that one. No, I want this one. There's the Euro. So look at how the Euro is about 60 miles to the north. Both ways. So it's a little bit further north right here and up here. So it's a little bit further to the north. This is the 18Z Euro. I wonder if the 0Z is going to put that higher output out here. So I'm really curious to see what the 0Z says. We might not get this. The ensembles always come out a little bit later, so we might not get those. But if you're just tuning in here, we'll drop back through and we'll look at some of these models and their we'll go back and look at the timing of all this stuff. So my keyboard is really okay. So here's Friday afternoon. This is when this all starts down here, Red River, Arkansas, all the way over to Tennessee. You start to get some precip. The main wave has not come in yet, so it's not super strong. You're going to get some heavy precip though the further south you go. So here, Saturday midnight, more of the snow, ice starts to fill in. It starts to slowly fill in. It won't be really fast. Next morning, you can see it. Heavy ice precip, little heavy batch of snow. There's a pretty consistent signal that around Saturday morning, you're going to get a little bit of a break across the southern plains here. You're going to get a little bit of a break right here. But by Saturday afternoon, that next wave comes in. Really heavy sleet, ice for Birmingham, Atlanta, Jackson. Here's your next wave of snow out here. Then it really comes in Saturday night. Really heavy snow. Tapers off in the southern plains Sunday, and then it gets very, very strong Sunday afternoon across the mid-Atlantic. What football games are going on Saturday, Sunday? I know the Seahawks and the why am I blanking? Oh, the Rams, Seahawks and the Rams, and then you have the Patriots and the Broncos. I don't know which days those are on. Denver, it's going to be pretty clear, it looks like. Good thing. If the Patriots game was in Foxborough, it would be another snow game. But welcome in, everybody. Greg Huemaker says, I'll just call you Greg. I'll just call you G Money. G Money says, I hope what the Euro model is showing doesn't end up coming true. I really don't want an ice storm. Pray this thing ticks back south and puts my town in all snow. Well, Greg, it's possible it could tick south a little bit. You're not going to like me saying this, but my personal lean is that it either ticks a little bit more north or it kind of stays where it's at. Maybe it ticks north, back south, back north, and it just ends up not mattering in the end. But I kind of think it's either going to tick a little bit north or kind of stay where it's at. Yeah, after Helene. I mean, Helene is probably the worst. I mean, there's been a lot of bad natural disasters. It's kind of hard to quantify them because they're all different. Like you had that flood in Texas this July, but Helene was a lot worse than the flooding in Texas, just because it was more widespread. That flooding in Texas this summer was very localized in like a region, smaller region. The Helene was extremely widespread in the Appalachians. And actually, you know what? I've never been in the Appalachians. I've never been to North Carolina, South Carolina. I've been to the Appalachians in Virginia actually, but I'm curious to go there one day. But yeah, Helene was not good. Dallas. Okay, we got a question. Bob is asking about Dallas, Texas. Okay, DFW. I'm thinking as far as snow goes, y'all ain't gonna get much snow. Maybe a little bit on the back end, but it doesn't seem overly likely. The north side of DFW's got a better shot, but it still feels unlikely. We're thinking sleet and ice. So sleet is going to be better than a big ice storm. You don't want a big ice storm. That's going to be bad. Sleet, things will get slick. The city will still probably shut down for a couple of days, but if you get more sleet, it ain't going to be as bad as snow or ice. Ice would be the worst, in my opinion. So Dallas, I think you're going to get a little bit of snow probably, but it maybe depends on if you live on the north, west, south. Yeah, I know Dallas Metro is so expansive, and with these events, a few miles matters, but I'm thinking mostly sleet and ice for you guys down there. Virginia, North Carolina line. Now that's an interesting one. So here's my gut feeling for y'all there. Need to look at this model again. Oof. All right. I think what's going to happen, Virginia, North Carolina line, I think you're going to start off with some snow. And then I think that warm nose is kind of going to inch its way up the valley there to the east of the Appalachians. And I think that warm air is going to switch you guys to sleet. Now, hopefully it doesn't switch you guys to freezing rain, because obviously freezing rain, that's no good. But it's going to switch y'all to sleet over there. It's going to switch y'all to sleet, maybe freezing rain. So if you're on the North Carolina, Virginia line, I'd prepare for everything. I'd prepare for snow, sleet, and freezing rain. If the storm keeps moving north, it's going to be freezing rain, sleet. If the storm ticks back to the south, it's going to be mostly snow. And as of right now, it looks like a mixture of everything for you guys. So those sleet amounts will really make your snow totals go way down, because sleet, like I said, like 3 inches of sleet is probably equivalent to like a foot of snow. So if you're getting an inch of precipitation in sleet, it's not going to accumulate like an inch of precipitation will for snow, if that makes sense. Northeast Oklahoma is looking like a really good spot for the storm. Northeast Oklahoma is going to get smoked. You live 10 miles from Forest City. I know there's a Forest City, Arkansas. Is there a Forest City, North Carolina, I'm guessing, too? How much snow in Nashville? It's hard to say. It's hard to say how much snow there's going to be, because, like I said, if the system moves 50 miles in one direction or the other, it totally changes. And I know people don't like that answer, but that's just true. Nashville, my gut feeling for Nashville is it's tough. I mean, my gut feeling for Nashville is a little bit more sleet and ice than snow, but I think you're going to get some snow. So, but maybe a little bit more sleet and ice, unfortunately. But we'll see. If the system ticks back to the south, you're talking more snow in Nashville. But it's a very hard forecast. It's a very hard, very, very hard forecast. Again, firewood and propane. Hey, there's no better way to go through a winter storm than sitting by the campfire. Not a campfire, but the fireplace. Campfire in the middle of the winter storm would get put out. But, all right, here comes the Euro. It's loading in. So what we're waiting on is the Euro here. Wow. Okay, so here's the Euro. It only goes out to Saturday. It only goes out to Friday night. So give it 15 minutes and it'll go out all the way. But now it goes out to Friday night. You see, by Friday afternoon, this is Friday at dinner time, your ice is setting up here. Little Rock, this might have moved even more north. Oklahoma City, Lubbock, that ice is setting up for you guys. You got some light snow across Kansas and Nebraska, probably still accumulating a decent bit because it's so cold. So you can see that snow, that precipitation kind of starts to fill in there. It fills in. The Red River I-44 starts to fill in by Saturday evening. So I can't go this is as far as I can go, is midnight, but you can see here, if I take a sounding, let's see if it's too dry for snow or not. And you can get snow, yeah. 9 degrees there. I'll take a look. Here's a sounding over Little Rock. I also want to show you guys, if you guys are interested, here's the difference between snow, ice, and sleet. Here's a little meteorology lesson here. I'll take a sounding down by Midland, Odessa. That's perfect. Okay, little meteorology lesson, okay? I'll try to explain this as simple as I can. Okay. So that red is your temperature. So the temperature here is 23 degrees. So you'd think, hey, 23 degrees, cold enough for snow. Well, not always. It's all about what's happening above the ground. So just how to read this chart in general, the higher you go up, as you go up, you go into the atmosphere. If you go right, that's warmer. Left is colder or drier. So you can see your temperature line. Here's your temperature line right here. And your dew point line. There's your temperature dew point line. You can see right there. So look, your temperature on the ground is over here. Look at this. Your temperature at the surface is right here. But if you go up 2 miles under the atmosphere, it's over here. So the air 2 miles under the atmosphere is so much warmer than the air at the surface. And here's your this right here is your freezing line, I think. I don't want to sound like dumb, but I think this is your freezing line. So see how the temperature goes to the right of the freezing line? So this is your freezing line right here. This is your freezing line. I'll draw different colors. This blue line is your freezing line, and see as you go higher into the atmosphere, that's your freezing line. Here's your temperature, your actual temperature. So you see how that temperature starts below freezing at the surface, then you go up to 1 kilometer. At 1 kilometer, it's about right at freezing, and then about 2 kilometers up here, at about 2 kilometers, you're above freezing, and then you go back to freezing. So this stuff is falling as snow. You got snow. This is my best representation of snow. It's falling as snow, switches to rain, and then it freezes. And that's how you get sleet. So when it falls as snow, switches to rain, refreezes, that's how you get sleet. And sometimes, if it's not quite cold enough for it to refreeze, it'll just hit the ground as rain and then just freeze into ice. So if we go up here where the snow is falling to the north, here's why snow is falling up here. Here's your freezing line is right here. There's your freezing line. Now your temperature goes way up above the ground, but since your ground temperature is so cold, your ground temperature is at 10 degrees. So it's so cold that the temperature up in the atmosphere can't hit the freezing line, so it stays as snow. I hope that made sense. I tried to explain that as simplistic as possible, but I know this stuff can be very confusing for a lot of people who are new to it. I mean, when I was first learning this stuff, I didn't know much of it too, but there's your little meteorology lesson for the day. I'm not an official meteorologist, but I might as well probably be a little bit better than some of them out there. Let's just say that, especially when it comes to the tornado stuff. I'm starting to learn more about the winter stuff, but my expertise is more like supercells tornadoes, I would say. But we are getting the winter down here. So here you go. 6 a.m. Saturday. Look at this. We got a mess on our hands. We got a mess on our hands here. This is a year. If you're just tuning in, we're watching the European model come in here. So far, I think that this model's had the best handle on the storm. So you got a snow shield all the way up to Iowa, Nebraska. Now, there might be a lot of dry air. There might be a lot of dry air up here, so you might not be getting snow all the way up there, but you definitely have a snow shield up to like I-70 at the very least. But this is trended way north. Here's I-44. And then here's 40. So you can see that snow rain line is right about, or that snow freezing rain line is 40. And there's one other thing I want you guys to notice with this storm actually too. Okay, the pink is ice, the purple is sleet, and the blue is obviously snow. You hardly have any purple. Look, it's either freezing rain or snow. There's not a big line of sleet. That's on the Euro. But if you go to the GFS, there's a lot of sleet. Watch, we'll go to the GFS. Look at the GFS. Look at all the purple. There's a ton of sleet on the GFS. It's a ton of sleet. You hardly have any ice. You just have a little bit of ice down there. So why is the GFS all sleet? Why is the Euro all ice? That question, I don't really know. To be honest with you, I don't know why one is putting out a lot of sleet and the other is putting out a lot of ice. I really don't know. But that's something to keep in mind because ice is so much worse than sleet. It will cause 5 times the issues that sleet will cause. So, by midday, by lunchtime on Saturday, look at this. This keeps getting stronger, I swear, every run. You got pretty moderate snow all the way up to central Missouri. You got heavy snow from New Mexico. Ooh, Nashville is right on the line there. Right on the line. Northwest Arkansas. You're getting pounded. Pounded in Northwest Arkansas here on this run. Nashville, you're right on that line there. All right. By the afternoon, look at this. This is heavy snow right here. Really heavy snow. Moderate snow back here that's still accumulating quite a bit. Big ice storm all the way down to Midland, Odessa, to Louisiana border. So this has moved north. This has certainly moved to the north here. Let me check up, see what y'all are saying in the chat. Yeah, this got much more north, guys. Your high pressure's up here, 1043. This is moving, these runs are moving north. All right. Here's by dinner time. This is crazy. You have snow now almost about to start into Pennsylvania, Maryland, the Delmarva area. You have a big ice event. This ice event down here. This is what I'm most worried about when it comes to ice is South Carolina, North Carolina, and then also kind of this corridor right there. I think you'll see two. I think as far as ice and sleet, I think you're going to see two really high corridors. I think you're going to see one right here, Red River, I-40. And then I think you're going to see another one over here from Tennessee through the Appalachians down into Carolinas. So let's go to midnight Saturday night where we'll skip 6 hours here. Still, pretty good snow happening all the way back into Arkansas, but really your storm is now hammering. It is hammering Ohio now. This was not like this last night. We'll look at last night's run. Look at last night's run. Look at this. Ohio, no snow. Illinois, no snow on last night's run. Why is my little thing so small? All right. Yeah, no snow up here. No snow here. And then we go to this and you have ice. You have ice all the way down here. All the way down here. Now we go to this run. Tonight, that was last night. We go to tonight. Oh, there's my little space. Look at tonight. Snow up here. Snow up here. No freezing rain down here. A little bit of freezing rain down there. Look at how much farther north it moved in just a day. So we'll have to see if this thing ticks back south. But like I was telling y'all 30 minutes ago, my gut feeling is this either was going to stay the same or tick a little bit north. Wow. I mean, I'm going to take a sound in here. This probably is insane. That is a textbook sounding for really, really heavy snow. Not a lot of wind there. So we'll move. We'll go on a loop here. I'll show you guys a loop of this. All right, here we go. So you expect it will probably look. Here's what'll happen. It'll probably tick a little bit more north, and then it's probably going to tick back south. That is what usually happens. Or then maybe it goes back south for like a couple days, and it comes back north. These like the flip flop. It's kind of like anything. It's like a hurricane. I don't know if y'all have ever tracked a hurricane, but sometimes hurricanes will like flip. They'll have a cone, but it'll kind of say, "Oh, we're gonna go this way." No, we're gonna go this way. You know. All right. Here's the loop here. All right, Friday, 3 p.m. Friday, 6 p.m. Friday evening, 9, midnight Friday night, 3 a.m. here, 6 a.m. Friday, 9 a.m., noon, Saturday. Now we're on Saturday at noon. Saturday, middle of the afternoon here. Dinner time, 6 p.m., 9 p.m., Saturday midnight, Saturday night, 3 in the morning, Sunday morning, 6 a.m. It really starts to get up to DC. That sleet line is getting close to DC there now. Okay, wow. New York, I mean, you guys are getting slammed up there. So here you go. But here's Sunday at noon. Everybody getting out of church. Probably everyone's church will be canceled. I'm sure no one will be able to get there. You might get a foot. Rocket, where are you at? Also, let me know in the stream one more time before we get out of here in a few minutes. Let me know where are you watching from, and I'll try to answer as many questions I can about what you could expect. So just let me know where you're watching from. I'll try to get to all the comments here. All right, let's look at our snow totals. I don't even know if I want to look at this because it's probably going to be insane, but why not? I mean, this is pretty believable. I really think this is a plausible scenario, actually. 20 inches of snow in Fayetteville. 20 inches of snow in Fayetteville. It's ridiculous. Here we can zoom in. 21 inches of snow in Fayetteville. One model run, okay? This is not, don't expect this. This is one model run. We'll see if it can stick or not. Here, I'll get to your guys' chats in just a second. Hold on here. I mean, a pretty solid snow shield now across Kansas. I mean, look at this. Salina, Kansas, 16 inches. Where the heck did that come from? Joplin, Missouri, 13 inches of snow. Look at that. Springfield, 14. Eureka Springs is like 20 down there. St. Louis, 9 inches on this run. Kansas City, a foot. Kentucky, Tennessee. Look at this. Nashville, womp. That sucks. 3 inches. Now Louisville's getting the jackpot. Cincinnati's getting the jackpot. It just shifted way, way north. This morning, the jackpot is right here. Now the jackpot's up here. So we'll see if this shifts back south. This is why I tell y'all it is so difficult. It is so difficult to know. That's why I tell y'all. So hard to know. It really is. When y'all ask me how much you're gonna get, I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's so difficult. It's DC, Baltimore. I won't go chasing Baltimore. But I might go up to Philly. Might go chase Philly. This happens. 15, 16 inches, New York. Jeez, man. We'll go down here. We'll go over to the Carolinas. See, here's the problem. Now, these areas that were supposed to get smoked are now getting mostly sleet and ice. And now it's up here. So we'll see if this moves south or if it stays north. And now we're going to go look at the ice totals here for y'all. Warning, okay? These are overdone. The snow could be somewhat realistic. With a storm this strong, that snow could be realistic. The ice, way, way overdone. Before I get to that, let me see where y'all at. Louisville, Southern Illinois, Japan, but you got Kentucky, but you got a family in Kentucky. Knoxville, Tennessee, you might get smoked with something. Northeast Ohio looks like more snow for you. It does. New York, Southern Tier. Springfield, Missouri. You're not far from me. I'm over here in Jomo. Canadian border. Well, not trending all the way up. Well, maybe, yeah, to the east. Yeah, where the Canadian border goes all the way down to the lakes. So, yeah, it is. Ohio, Northern Kentucky. New Mexico, yeah. You guys will get snow down in those southern parts of New Mexico, yes. You're the tippy top part of Virginia. Yeah, you're going to get, you're probably going to get smoked up there. Indianapolis, Indianapolis. Yesterday, I would have said y'all ain't gonna get much snow. Looks a lot better now. So we'll look at some of these freezing rain totals before we get out of here. The snow is a big story, but the ice might be the bigger impact. So the Euro has an inch and a half of ice in Dallas. That ain't probably going to happen. If it did, it would not be good. 2.5 inches on Little Rock. This is overdone. I'll tell you guys, these models overdo the ice. So I would, however much ice this has you getting, I would probably lower it by almost half. Almost half. So if it shows like 2 inches of ice, probably more realistically 1 or whatever. But even down here, Georgetown, Austin, San Antonio area, you're getting in on stuff. But look at this. I mean, this is insane. This is going to be worse than the snow. But it's all one big story. Yeah, Wilmington, Ohio. I don't know exactly where that is, but that's southern. Yeah, you could definitely get over a foot. All right, we'll go east here. So this is not good. So Nashville, you move out of the snow, you move into the ice. Memphis, into the ice. Carolinas, there you go, into the ice. At one point, it was looking like this spot right here was going to get the highest snow totals. Now you're looking at staring down the barrel of a bunch of ice. But you even have some ice sneaking in on the I-95 corridor. So ice first, then maybe snow second. But the reality of it is, here, I'll leave one up. Here's the Euro with the ice. We'll go to the snow now. On this one, here's the reality of it. I have my guesses, but I don't have any clue at the end of the day. The weather is going to do whatever the heck it wants. That's the one thing I've learned about forecasting weather. It does what it wants. My gut tells me that this storm is either going to take a little bit north or it's going to be about the same that it is now. That's what my gut tells me. It's going to take a little bit north or it's going to be the same. Maybe I'm underestimating how far it could go north, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that it's either going to take a little bit farther north or it's going to stay about the same. As far as ice goes, I could see the ice. Here's our ice right here. Here's the ice. I could see the ice going south because for this reason, when you get these really shallow cold fronts, and by shallow, I mean that the cold air is close to the surface, and then when you go up, it warms up. When you get shallow cold air like this, it always gets farther south than what models say. So if the models have the shallow cold air, I'll just go to the surface map here at, let's say Friday. Let's go to Friday at 6. The cold front is right here. This is the cold. Let's see, we should draw this in black. Here's your cold front right here. Cold front's right here. Knowing how these events go, it might be like down here. It always goes a little bit farther to the south. So that's kind of what we're thinking. Everett says this is bull crap. Everett, what's bull crap? Birmingham, Alabama, what's the chance of it shifting back south? I think as of right now, like, could it shifted north? Like, could it shift back south? Absolutely. Is it going to look like it did 2 days ago and be way south? Probably not. But it could go a little bit back south. Birmingham, you're still going to get smoked with wintry precip. Except according to this model, you might be just a little bit north, actually. There's a lot of warm air. So maybe not. I mean, this model has a lot of warm air, but I still think Birmingham, you're going to get on the ice at some point. Indianapolis. Yeah, snow. What model's that? That's a European model. All right, Jet. I've been live for what time is it? Whoa, it's 12:09. I've been live for about an hour and a half now, a little bit longer than that. So I'm going to sign off here, but I'm about to schedule another stream for tomorrow. I might have to go live in the afternoon. Maybe tomorrow night I can go live again, but I'm definitely going to be live 3-4 times before this event. So I'm going to be live at least once a day here, maybe more. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but in like 5 minutes I'll have another stream up. So go to the upcoming stream, like it, comment, and follow me, Ben Williams, on X. Follow Storm Runner Media on Facebook and all the other platforms. So Storm Runner Media, Ben Williams. I'll be posting updates on this. And y'all have a great night. Stay safe. And hopefully for y'all that are north, it shifts north. If y'all are south, hopefully it shifts south. But I will see you guys on the next briefing.